Biden attended a shiver for legendary TV writer Norman Lear, who died earlier this week at 101 years old and was the creator of numerous shows, including All in the Family and The Jeffersons. More than 4 years after Disney studio staffers filed a lawsuit claiming gender-based disparity, a Los Angeles judge agreed that almost thousands of women can sue the Mouse House for paying them less than men. Taylor Swift's The Eras Tour grosses over $1 million in 2023, making her the biggest act ever to make that kind of money. The Wrap had its 2023 Power Women Summit, where Ava DuVernay talked about her new film Origin, The Color Purple's Danielle Brooks got candid, and Jodie Foster introduced Diana Nyad. Award season is in full swing. Over the weekend, the Cannes Palme d'Or winning film Anatomy of a Fall swept the awards at the European Film Awards in Berlin, winning Best European Film, Director, Screenplay, and Actress for Sandra Hüller. Sandra Hüller also is winning an actor award along with Emma Stone, Divine Joy Randolph, and Rachel McAdams from the LA Film Critics. Some of Hollywood's biggest stars will not have to contemplate crossing a picket line at the Golden Globes. Unite Here Local 11 and the Beverly Hilton have reached a tentative agreement. Martin Scorsese is to receive the David O. Selznick Award from the Producers Guild Association, and Paramount acquires world rights to the thriller Depravity, starring Victoria Justice, Devin Ross, Taylor John Smith, Sasha Luce, and Dylan McDermott. Raina Hardesty is to star opposite Daniel Day Kim in the Prime Video series Butterfly, and Sean Gunn is to play villain Maxwell Lord in James Gunn and Peter Safran's DC universe. SAG-AFTRA was in the news a lot this week as the ratification vote revealed that 78.33% of the ballots were in favor of ratifying the AMPTP agreement. That number is much higher than expected given some of the noise on social media, particularly around AI. The AFI Film Awards released their top 10, including Barbie, Oppenheimer, Maestros. Killers of the Flower Moon are among the organization's best for 2023. Killers of the Flower Moon has also been named Best Film of the National Board of Review. Daniel Brooks, Coleman Domingo, America Ferrera, and Andrew Scott are being honored at the 2024 Santa Barbara International Film Festival. Succession in the Morning Show led the Critics' Choice Award TV nominations, and the Spirit Award nominations were released, announcing American Fiction, May December, All of Us Strangers, Passages, and Past Lives among their honorees. Jamie Foxx gave an emotional speech in his first Hollywood appearance since his illness at the Critics' Choice celebration. Imogen Awards 2023 complete winners include Eva Longoria for Flamin' Hot, Broadway finds as Tommy, Ali Louis Bourgerie is reprising his Chicago performance in the Hugh musical. J.K. Simmons takes the call for Clint Eastwood's Juror Number 2, and Bradley Cooper and Christian Bale are circling the Cold War spy pick Best of Enemies from Atlas Entertainment. Olivia Wilde is set to direct the Christmas comedy Naughty with Lucky Chap producing. Bike riders vrooms into the summer after Focus Features takes over the new Regency pick, and Paramount acquires world rights to the thriller Depravity, starring Victoria Justice, Devin Ross, Taylor John Smith, Sasha Luce, and Dylan McDermott. Brittany Griner strikes wide-ranging deal with Disney and ESPN for a feature documentary. John Voight signs with Gersh, and Lighthouse Entertainment Plus Media signs Hi Mom scribe Laura Kazan. Romano is set to star in Liz Feldman's Netflix comedy series No Good Deed. Russell Crowe, Rami Malek, and Michael Shannon are set to star in James Vanderbilt's historical drama Nuremberg. Ian McGregor and Clara McGregor road trip drama Bleeding Love is set for a U.S. release with Vertical. Washington Post journalists go on a 24-hour strike to protest layoffs, stalling contract talks. Netflix is poised to greenlight French and German versions of Surviving Paradise from Squid Game challenger producer Studio Lambert and Raw TV. Jennifer Lopez is set to star in the feature adaptation Broadway musical Kiss of the Spider-Woman with Bill Condon directing. Telemarketers filmmaker Sam Lipman Stern signs with Range Media Partners. Zoo PD animated comedy is in the works at Fox from Family Guy's Alex Carter, Capital, and Bento Box. Kid Cudi teams with Jaron Braxton on a new animated feature, Slime, set in a dystopian future. Sasquatch Sunset. Bleecker Street acquires Zelnan Brooks pick starring Riley Keough and Jesse Eisenberg. Christine Froseth joins Richard Gere, Jacob Elordi, and Paul Schrader's pick, O Canada. Capote vs. the Swan, starring Tom Hollander and Naomi Watts, is set to premiere in January. Keen Saeed is set to play titular female thug in Zaid Abu Habdan's Jordanian underworld thriller Booma. Sally Richardson Whitfield boards Brad Ingleby's Mark Ruffalo-led HBO Task Force drama series as director and executive producer. The cheerleading drama Backspot, starring Devery Jacobs, Evan Rachel Wood, and executive produced by Elliot Page, gets a U.S. deal. Kim Kardashian is reteaming with the AHS executive producer Ryan Murphy and will star in a Hulu legal drama series. George Santos' movie is in the works at HBO Films from Veep EP Frank Rich. Tonight on The Curvy Critic with Carla Renata, we have the remainder of the cast of The Crown, who plays Princess William, Harry, and Kate Middleton. We have the Squid Game Challenge finalists, reviews of Merry Little Batman, and Chicken Run Dawn of the Nugget, plus interviews with the Independent Spirit Award cast from American Fiction and a review of Wonka. All that and more coming up on The Curvy Film Critic with Carla Renata right now.
Hold up. Wait a minute. I wish you love, peace, and hair grease.
Love, peace, and hair grease, y'all.
Straight from the hip.
This is Carla Renata, aka The Curvy Critic, and I shoot straight from the hip.
Yeah, you know I'm always shooting straight from the hip.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of The Curvy Critic with Carla Renata. I am your girl, Carla Renata. Thank you so much for joining me. If this is your first time tuning in, baby, give me a big thumbs up if you're on the YouTube, if you're on Facebook Live, if you are on Twitter. Subscribe to the channel. You never know who you're going to see here. And we have a jam-packed show for you today. What we're talking about today, I'll get into in a minute, but I'll give you a little bit of a tidbit. We're going to be talking about American Fiction, Chicken Run, Dawn of the Nugget, Wonka, Merry Little Batman, and so much more. Oh, and I forgot about this one last little thing. The finalists and the winner from Squid Game, The Challenge on Netflix. I know that's a lot, right? But I always get into what I did the week before. But before I get into that, let's check the chat and see who's here. It's Brandon. Hi, Brandon. So Brandon tells me that he can't wait to see Chicken Run 2. He loved Merry Little Batman. And in 2 weeks, he can't wait for Illumination's Migration. All of those great choices. Also, Bella Ramsey is a great voice actor. She's in Chicken Run 2. I know this. And she voices Molly. And she just got done doing Hilda on Netflix. She's also good as Hilda. Thank you for the review, Brandon. Zoo PD for Fox sounds interesting. Reminds me of Housebroken, which I also like, with Friends star as a poodle named Honey. Well, thank you, Brandon, for all of that insight. Appreciate you, and always appreciate you stopping by. So, as I said, I usually get into what I did the week before. Excuse me, to let y'all know what I've been up to. And honey, this week was jam-packed. It started out with the celebration of cinema and television honoring Black, Latino, and Asian American Pacific Islander achievements. It was hosted by Nico Anand from P Valley, which is on the Stars channel. And I was particularly excited because I got to see my friend from Superstore, America Ferrera, get honored, and she gave a beautiful speech. It was also the first time Jamie Foxx had been seen in public since we heard about his incident, which we still don't know what it is, and that's okay because that's his business. But he was honored along with a plethora of other people. You can go to the Critics' Choice website to see who they all were. I won't take up all the time with that here. I had to dip out for a second, though, because I went to moderate this panel for Bubba Wine, the People's President, that's streaming on Nat Geo and Hulu. You guys have heard me talk about it here many a time, so there's no surprise there. But in this picture to your left is Moses Boyo, who is the director, producer of the documentary, and then the subject of the documentary, Bubba Wine and his beautiful, lovely wife, excuse me, Barbie. Then I made my way over to the Color Purple premiere. I was so excited. Right before the film started, there were remarks by Oprah, Spielberg, producer Scott Sanders, and Blitz Bazawule, who is the director of this reimagined version of The Color Purple. I will have my review and my interviews with the entire cast from that particular project next week. I did chat a little bit with the cinematographer, Fatima Robinson. Anytime you see choreography in a piece, it's either Fatima Robinson or my boy that did Grease, Rise of the Pink Ladies. Is one of the two of them. So I just love that we got some brown people doing some things. This just beautiful. Anyway, we talked about a bunch of stuff at the reception. And then at the reception, there were two different sides. Well, on one side, it featured the costumes. So these are the costumes from a number called Miss Seeley's Pants. The one in the middle is what Fantasia wore. The one on the right is what Taraji P. Henson wore. And the one on the left is what Danielle Brooks was sporting. They also showed these costumes, which are from, this is the one on the far right is Sophia's costume for the majority of the film. And then the middle, the two on costumes on the end are from Push the Button at Harpo's Juke Joint. The one in the middle is Ceely's outfit, and the one on the left is Suge Avery's outfit, which was played by Taraji P. Henson. Of course, I had to get my picture to commemorate the evening because The Color Purple is literally one of my favorite books of all time. I love the original adaptation. I loved the musical. And then, of course, I had to show some love to my Howard University Bison sister, Taraji P. Henson. HU, you know. And I also had to show love to this beautiful couple. On your right is Chris Bowers. He does the musical adaptations for just about every movie that is on television or in a theater and a lot of different TV shows. And his beautiful wife, Brianna Nicole, who used to play Jordan on General Hospital. And then I ran into these two. On the left is Derek Rutledge. He has been Oprah Winfrey's makeup artist for over 20 years. And to your right is her, otherwise known as Gabrielle. Gabrielle plays Squeak in The Color Purple, and she does a fantabulous job. I'm looking forward to seeing more acting things from her. Now, let me just tell you a quick story about Derek. I'm going to come back on camera for this. So I've said many a times, I always talk about Howard University and going there. But while I was at Howard University, I was struggling financially as a lot of people of color do, you know. And my mom was a single mom during that time. So I decided I was going to enter some beauty pageants, and I entered the city local and the state locals for Miss America, which were Miss Maryland and Miss District of Columbia. I was second runner up and preliminary talent winner in both of those pageants. But I bring all of that up to say that when I was getting my talent presentation together, I was friends with someone that Derek knew, and Derek came over to my apartment to help me choreograph my little talent presentation. And he taught me this thing where when you're singing to bring your, let me come in the camera so you can see, to bring your arm up so that at the end you flip your arm up like that at the end. It was fabulous. I won the talent competition, but I have not seen him since then, and I was so excited to be able to say hello to him at that time. Then I hopped on over to Culver City to say hello to two filmmakers that I love, Zeb and Mikiel, who are the directors of Relighting Candles, the Tim Sullivan story. It's a short film. It's about 20 minutes long. It centers around Tim Sullivan, who is a candle maker whose shop is over in West Hollywood, and it talks about his journey um, to from to sobriety and how candles played a role in doing that. The film is produced by Melissa McCarthy and her husband, Bill Falcone, who you can see on the far right of the picture. So I went to support them. And then, of course, they showed me this candle, which was specifically made by Tim for Melissa. And they made one for her husband, Ben Falcone, as well. So, like I said, today we're going to get into a lot of things. We're going to talk about Squid Game, the challenge. I have the finalists and the winner. We're going to talk about The Crown. I have the actors that play Prince William and Kate, who you see pictured there, and also the young man who plays Prince Harry. Their names are Meg Bellamy, Luther Ford, and I'll tell you the other one in a minute. And then we're going to review Merry Little Batman, which is streaming on Prime Video. Oh, and then I also want to tell you about these special edition Merry Little Batman Nikes, but I'll get to that when we get to the film. And I'm also going to do a review of American Fiction and Chicken Run Dawn of the Nugget. So having said all of that, let's get right on into it. So the first film I want to talk about today is Merry Little Batman. Merry Little Batman. It is so cute, y'all. Batman is in the DC franchise and not the Marvel franchise. And, they have their little things with each other. But I really liked this. I'm going to come back on camera so you can see me talking about it. I got to drink something too because my throat is a little dry. Excuse me. Allergies, really bad this time for me. Anyway, Merry Little Batman is streaming now on Prime Video. Like I said, it's directed by Mike Roth and it's voiced by Luke Wilson, who plays Bat Dad, Jonas Kabreb, who plays Damien, James Cromwell, and David Hornsby. The music is by Patrick Stone. Y'all, the soundtrack for this is really great. I was like, okay, get it, get it, get it, get it. I was very into it. And it's written by Morgan Evans and I think it's Jace Ritchie. So what happens is it centers around Christmas. And this particular Christmas, Damian Wayne, who's little Batman, wants to be a superhero like his dad, Big Batman, the one and only Batman. So when Damian is left home alone, get it? Home alone. While Batman takes on Gotham's worst supervillains on Christmas Eve, i.e., the Joker and Penguin, he stumbles upon a villainous plot to steal Christmas and leaps at the chance to save the day. This film is super cute. It's super short. It's only 97 minutes long. And it shows Batman as a dad, which in previous iterations of the Batman franchise, we know that Bruce Wayne loses his parents at a very young age and doesn't really get to experience his dad that much. So and that has eluded him in every iteration. So it's really nice to kind of see it in this particular story. It's a nice DC based story for the holidays and kids where Damien goes out of his way to prove he's worthy of carrying on the legacy of the one and only Batman, who is his dad, or AKA Bat Dad, and how impressionable a father can be on their sons for the rest of their lives, right? And I love how Bat Dad kind of serves as like in his little Batman suit. He's got the little Batman logo right here, but it's like an electronic. It's Bat Dad, but it feels like an electronic version of Alfred, giving him advice along his journey as he's trying to thwart his Uncle Joker and the Penguin. It's super cute, y'all. You should totally watch it. I'm gonna come back next week. It'll be my last show for 2023, and I'm going to go through the whole list of all the things that you should be watching over the holiday season, give you my predictions for some things, and talk about what's going to happen with the Curvy Critic going into 2024. But having said that, that's what I feel about Merry Little Batman, which is now streaming on Prime Video. Chicken Run, Dawn of the Nugget is now streaming on Netflix. It's been streaming on Netflix since December 8th. It's directed by Sam Fell. Zachary Levi is voicing Rocky. Tandaway Newton is voicing Ginger, and Bella Ramsey, as I said earlier, is voicing Molly. Now, there was a Chicken Run 1. So when the first Chicken Run movie happened, the chickens went through this whole adventure trying to escape the farm. Well, now they've escaped the farm, and Ginger and Rocky are now welcoming a whole new adventure into their lives. Back on mainland, the whole kind of chicken kind faces a whole new terrible threat with the humans coming to get rid of the land that they are inhabiting. And so they're trying to deal with that and get a plan with that. But while all of that is going on, Molly decides that she wants to exert her independence, as all little kids do. We've done it too, which her independent curiosity, I should say, by taking a trip to the farm that her parents escaped from, which results in her having to be rescued and becoming becoming a delicious chicken nugget. So it's stop animation. It's a stop motion animation film, which I really love because the attention to detail is so super specific in terms of the movement and how everything is happening within the course of the film. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I don't think stop motion animation features get enough love. It's kind of, and the theme of it is, how something, my mother used to always tell me when we would go shopping and I would see something that I liked and it didn't have a price on it. My mother would be like, if it doesn't have if you have to ask how much it is, you can't afford it. And then my mother used to always say as well, if something feels too good to be true, it usually is. And that is the case with this chicken run farm. It feels like a chicken oasis, but in fact, it is a place where the chickens are in grave danger of becoming chicken nuggets. Hence the title Dawn of the Nugget, where they put collars on the chickens like they are animal experiments and make them happy so that they're not so terrified and afraid of being processed. I know that sounds really horrible, and I know it doesn't sound like it's kid friendly, but it kind of is. And it's the way that they address it that makes it kid friendly. I loved hearing Imelda Staunton back as Bunty. She is deliriously and deliciously diabolical, and I was there for all of it. So that's Chicken Run, Donna the Nugget. It is now streaming on Netflix. So now let's get into these interviews. um, yeah, let's get into these interviews. So I spoke with the cast and the producer, writer, and director of American Fiction, which just got nominated for a plethora of awards, including many Independent Spirit Awards for Erica, Jeffrey, Cord, and the film itself. It stars Sterling K. Brown, Tracy Ellis Ross, Jeffrey Wright, and Erica Alexander. Leslie Uggams plays Jeffrey Sterling and Tracy's mom. And there's some great Broadway talent in there. And I spoke to Cord about that previously, about how he went to the casting director to get these wonderful actors. And he said that, you know, because they were shooting in New York, or close on the East Coast rather, he really wanted to get some theater-based actors to be in the film. And he did that. American Fiction is a wonderful film, and it won the People's Choice Award at the Toronto International Film Festival earlier this year. But like I said, I had the opportunity to speak to some folks. So let me just go into those interviews so that you can be thoroughly entertained. But before we get into that, we're going to get into a little Squid Game. We're going to get into a little Squid Game, the challenge, because this week they announced the winner and the finalists. And this is what the finalists had to tell me about their experience. When y'all did that first challenge, how did y'all feel when that doll's head started spinning around? Were you like, okay, this is a real life Chucky doll situation?
She's cute, but she's terrifying.
Yeah.
And she's right behind me, isn't she?
Yes, she is. And the eyes are glowing. Like,
I feel her. Oh.
So someone during the course of the show said, how you play is who you are. Who do you think you became during this competition versus the person that entered it?
I mean, I knew going in that I didn't want to be anyone other than myself, and I feel pretty proud that I was able to stick to my core values throughout the entire show, because the game really does its best to try to break you and try to ruin you and try to turn you into something that you're not, and I'm pretty proud of myself for not doing that. And even, you know, though we were faced with some impossible choices, I feel like at the end of the day, personally, I'm pretty proud of how I did and how I was able to kind of stick to my gut and you know, use my strengths.
What about you, Mai? Because there was the majority of the people, they were like, I don't know about Mai.
It's the game, right? You can't be the person that you project as being a nice person, but yet but you have to project that you are a competitor. That's what you're here for. So there's a Jekyll and Hyde, personality. It's like 1 minute you're nice, and next minute it's like, okay, who's your enemy? Who are you gonna take out, or who you gonna eliminate? So it's all of that. It's just like constantly swirling in my head. It's like, how am I gonna be grounded? The person that that I came in, but leaving is like the person that this is not me. It's like it's really playing with your mind.
Last but not least,
I feel like I'm a stronger version of the person that went in. There were a lot of opportunities and risks, and everything just helped me build myself as a better version.
Well, congratulations to all three of y'all making it down to the wire. I cannot wait to see who comes out in the end, honey. The suspense is killing me.
Us too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, needless to say, I do know who the winner is. And if you watch it on Netflix, let me come back on camera. I do know who the winner is. If you watch it on Netflix, you can see who the winner is too, but I don't want to ruin it for you by telling you here. And I don't want to get in trouble with Netflix either. So again, y'all, those are the three finalists. Phil, Mai, and Sam are the three finalists for Squid Game, The Challenge, which is streaming on Netflix, and they have already been picked up for a season 2 of that series. So there you have that. All right. I'm also going to talk a little bit about The Crown. So The Crown is in its final season. It's dealing with the death of Princess Diana and how it affects everyone that is associated with the royal family, how that event affected everyone. But it also gives us some backstory on Prince William, Prince Harry, and Kate Middleton, how Prince William and Kate Middleton met and all of that. But I did talk to the young people that play those roles. I talked to them about, how they feel about if they thought that them being in the royal family was going to be something that was them being in the royal family in cinema was going to be something that they would ever do, and they were like no, among other things. But Ed McVeigh plays Prince William, Luther Ford plays Prince Harry, and Meg Bellamy plays Kate Middleton, and here they are talking about their experience being in the royal family on The Crown. In your whole entire career, think that you would be stepping into the world of the royal family, and what has that been like for you? And we'll go with ladies first.
No, of course not. I mean, like but I was such a big fan of the show.
Ladies first, and you just started talking.
Yeah.
When y'all did that first challenge, how did y'all feel when that doll's head started spinning around? Were you like, in your whole entire career, think that you would be stepping into the world of the royal family, and what has that been like for you? And we'll go with ladies first.
No, of course not. I mean, like but I was such a big fan of the show.
Ladies first, and you just started talking.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure what happened with that video, but I'm come back on camera. I'm gonna try to come back on camera. I'm not sure what happened with that video. So it must be a glitch or something. So let's see if I can fix
well, kind of the same. Like I never knew how far they were going in the show. I'd always watched it and loved it, but it wasn't like I know they're casting for Kate in 2022. It was like, a real amazing surprise and just a treat to even audition for it. So very surreal, still just kind of taking each day as it comes and just trying to soak it all up and enjoy it. And yeah, it's pretty fabulous.
It is. Yeah. I mean, I didn't even know I was going to have a career. So
here we are. So we're doing well.
Yeah, no, I mean, complete...
a career in anything.
Yeah, no, I didn't think it was going to happen. No, completely unimaginable. Ridiculous. It still is ridiculous.
Yeah,
everything.
Every,
moment.
Step along the way, like being here doing this, it's silly.
Yeah,
It's silly.
Definitely.
Well, y'all were fabulous. I loved everything about everything that you did. But one of the things that sticks out to me is, dating for royals is it's nearly impossible. But how is dating for you guys as actors? Because that can be a little tricky too.
You just got to find the good ones.
Okay, I don't know what is going on with this video, but I will fix it and I will re-put it back up on my YouTube channel. I don't know why it's glitching. I don't know why it's going dark. I have no idea what's happening. But without further ado, we'll just get right into Wonka. We'll talk about Wonka because I'm like, I don't know what's happening right now. So Wonka stars Timothy Chalamet and Olivia Colman, and Kayla Lane as Noodle, and Patterson Joseph as Slugworth. Now, there's been 3 different iterations of this Willy Wonka story. The first one was in the 70s. It was called Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory with Gene. That video has got me all confuddled with Gene Wilder. And then the second one was Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, was Charlie and the Chocolate Factory with Johnny Depp, which was like, ugh. And now we have this one, which is simply called Wonka. So there's 3 iterations of it. In this iteration, the Slugworth in the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory version with Gene Wilder. In that iteration, Slugworth was actually somebody that worked for Willy Wonka, and the kids thought he was a villain. Charlie's family thought he was a villain, but he actually worked for Willy Wonka. In this version of the Willy Wonka story, Slugworth is actually a villain. And he is the villain who's trying to take Wonka down and get Wonka's chocolate out of the way so that his chocolate and his partner's chocolate can prevail. So yeah, that's the best thing to say about that. I like this version because it's much more diverse in its casting than any of the other ones. We've got Natasha Rothwell, who plays an ally for Willy Wonka in the workhouse. We've got Kayla Lane, who I mentioned earlier, who plays Noodle, and Patterson Joseph, who plays Slugworth, is also Black. All three of these people are Black people, and I love that Black people are considered and included in this iteration of the story. Olivia Colman plays this character that's given me life. It's like a Miss Hannigan kind of character from Annie, but she's singing, she's dancing, she's doing all the things. She's even got a little boo. It's hilarious. And so this one deals with it's like a precursor to how Willy Wonka became Willy Wonka. So armed with nothing but dreams, he shows up at this place, and he's a young chocolatier, and he wants to change the world, right? One delectable bite at a time. And he manages to do that. Let me see, what else did I want to say about that? Oh, there was one other version of the Wonka story in 2017. It was a direct-to-video, and I think it might have been animated. It was called Tom and Jerry, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory in 2017. Timothy Chalamet is singing and dancing and doing the thing. Between him and Olivia Colman, it is really a lot of fun. It's a very sweet kind of Christmas thing to happen at the end. It's a great way to end the year with this really sweet story of Willy Wonka, regardless of what generation you are, whether you saw the first one, whether you saw the second one, whether you saw the Tom and Jerry, or whether you're seeing this one. It goes without saying that everybody is a Willy Wonka fan, and Wonka is going to really tap into that inner child for everybody. So make sure you check it out. It's a Warner Brothers picture. It was supposed to be released on Christmas Day. It has moved up its release date to December 15th, which is later on this week. So please check it out when you have an opportunity. All right, so we're going to go ahead and finish. Hopefully there's nothing wrong with these videos that I have with American Fiction, but I'm going to play the first one with Erica Alexander, who plays a love interest for Jeffrey Wright in the film, who plays Thelonious Monk. Let me just get into American Fiction a little bit, because I don't think I talked about it before. So American Fiction is directed, produced, and written by Cord Jefferson. Cord Jefferson is an Emmy-winning writer for many TV shows that you know, including Watchmen, that starred Regina King. I told you who the cast was. It's adapted from a book by Percival Everett called Erasure that was published more than 20 years ago. So this is the thing. It deals with a lot of different issues, but it mostly deals with why is American culture so fascinated with Black trauma? Why is that? Why aren't Black professionals depicted in books and in films as frequently as we see Black drug addicts or Black rappers or Black slaves? Why is it that white people with power to greenlight films, books, and TV shows have such a limited view of what Black lives look like? Cord Jefferson, who is the director of the movie, said that he made this movie for everyone tired of seeing these lazy, monotonous stories, especially the generations of Black artists who have too often been tasked with the rendering, rote suffering to the neglect of their countless other abilities. He wanted to make an honest film that speaks to both the universality of being marginalized by the world and the unique individuality that animates every person on earth. So the film deals with, like I said, Thelonious Monk Ellison, who's brilliantly played by Jeffrey Wright. And he is a respected author and professor of English literature at a predominantly white institution, who experiences professional and personal events that force him to re-examine the terms of his integrity, his ideals, and his artistic experience. When he sees this book by this Black author played by Issa Rae. In her book is called We Lives in the Ghetto. He loses his mind and he writes his own version of what he thinks that is. This film is smart while it addresses every trope that has ever been assigned to Black characters on film, in literature, and in television, as I alluded previously when I began speaking about this film. I told you Leslie Uggams plays their mom, and she's memory challenged, but she's also hilarious and heartbreaking simultaneously. The end of this film makes for some great dinner table and party conversations, but the very last image that you see in the film will haunt your soul. So having said all of that, I talked to Erica Alexander about playing a strong Black woman who takes the reins and control of a relationship as opposed to being a victim. And this is what she had to say. What's up, sis?
How you doing, Miss Renata?
Girl, I am great. I'm so happy to be here talking to you.
It's my pleasure.
I love it. Okay. I love the fact that you're playing Aloya again.
Come on.
But I also love the fact that this is the first time in cinema that I've seen a woman, a Black woman in a relationship, take the reins of the relationship and call the shots, as opposed to being the victim and letting the guy go when we gonna break up. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. How did it feel for you to empower that type of character? Because it gave me life.
Oh, I love it. And frankly, Carla, to me, it's because Cord is a man who is a modern man. And he was raised by a mature woman. And so the expectation is that he would write women that were full versions of themselves. And he did. And not just with Coraline, but also with Tracy Ellis Ross and Issa Rae. They all are prepossessed outside of the character of Monk. That's important. And so I think we need modern men and modern women to demand it, but men who want to see their mothers and people who were their instructors and teachers represented in the fictional world. And he's done a really great job of that.
Yes, he did. And you did a great job of embodying it. Because I was like, go ahead, Erica. Thank you. Hey. I also want to talk to you about this. There's that, I forget who says this in the movie, but somebody says white people think they want the truth, but they don't. They just want to be absolved. Do you think that's true or false in a post-Black Lives Matter existence?
It's very true. We're still dealing with these the ramifications of white supremacy, and we've made a lot of progress. And to many creatives' credit, they're really trying to break through, white, Black, and otherwise. But identity is something that Black people struggle with because of the white gaze. And who have we had to conform and defigure ourselves in order to fit the version that will be successful in their eyes. And we talk about it a lot because we're sort of held back by it. If we own the distribution channels, if we own the media, it would be less so. We would be having more of, I think, of a reality check about who we are. But that's the problem.
It's so nice for me to be able to have people see you outside, because everybody knows you, as Max from Living Single, but it's so nice to see you tapping into this dramatic lane because you're fierce at it, and I'm glad that now everybody else knows. I knew, but now everybody else knows.
Thank you.
And you've been behind the scenes as a producer. Which do you prefer better, being in front of the camera or behind?
I don't think I can choose. If I could, I would. You know what I mean? It would be really nice to say I work so often that I can just do acting and just, take up my entire schedule. But it's not true. The reason I started producing and writing and doing those types of things is because I wasn't working. But I needed to find a way to sustain myself. And also feel proud of myself, give myself much more authority in my life and agency, and not wait for the phone to ring. And I'm not outside of the people like you, who we create as entrepreneurs and as people, Black women. We're they say overqualified, most undervalued. That and who wants to be all of that and then still wait? That'll eat at your soul. So I'm just doing what my mama taught me, what people like you have created the pathway for. And then also when I think about who raised me in this business, people like Cecily Tyson, Whoopi Goldberg, all these people, Felicia Rashad, these are people who are used to having to create opportunities for themselves outside the industry. So you can be an insider, but also be an outsider. Never forget that you need to use your own power and your independence to move forward.
Erica Alexander, you are powerful, you are brave.
Because of you, sister.
I was about to say, you are my sister, and I admire you, I adore you, you inspire me, and I loved sitting here talking to you today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate the invitation and love you.
Mwah.
Thanks
Love
for
you,
all
Black.
you do.
I'm so happy for this resurgence of Erica Alexander, because a lot of times when people do comedy, they forget that comedy is so much harder than doing drama. So much harder. So I'm happy that people are beginning to see her in another light, and she's being recognized for her work, because as I said earlier, she is nominated for her role as Cora in American Fiction. All right, so next up is Tracy Ellis Ross and Sterling K. Brown, who play siblings. They play the sister and the brother to Jeffrey Wright's character Monk. And so I talked to them about sibling dynamics, and this is what they had to say. What's up?
What's up,
Woo, baby, I couldn't wait to get in here with y'all.
Let's go. Let's go.
My award-winning brother and sister. Yes, I know y'all have, it's been a minute since you won the awards, but I want people to remember and not forget.
Come on now.
All right, let's get into it. So, sibling dynamics are really funky, right?
Yeah.
And depending on
special,
really
special.
special.
Sibling dynamics are special.
Yeah,
And depending on where you rank, it can kind of color everything in your life and in your career.
Yes.
Has that been the case for either one of you?
Ooh, that's a good one. You're the oldest.
I'm the oldest, but in life, I'm the middle.
Okay.
Oh.
In my family, I'm the middle daughter.
Okay.
So, I definitely, Lisa had older sister vibe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
She handled it all. It reminds me of my older sister.
Right.
I don't know that, I think my middle daughter energy has definitely colored my life and career.
Yeah.
In that it's a little bit like, hello? Hello?
Seriously?
I'm here.
Are you kidding
me?
I am not. In my family? I'm like,
That's
And she got a
shocking.
large
are
family.
you kidding? Well,
I know
mean,
your older sister.
I'm always like my sister, that she's the smartest, I'm like, hello?
That's amazing. So I'm the youngest in life.
Yes.
Although I have my little brother and little sister who adopted, but they're like 25 and 24 years old, right? So I grew up as the youngest.
As the youngest.
And Cliff's the youngest, so that helped. I think being the youngest, they expect you to be like, have a lot of personality, and I'm the person that sort of brings joy to the family. Where the oldest is dealing with sort of like the logistics of everything, the youngest is like the mirth of everything. And that helps in the career too.
In my family, I think I was the joy bringer.
Okay.
But I'm also I hold the heart, I hold the emotions.
Yeah.
My sister is the older sibling.
Yeah.
The Lisa.
Yeah.
Speaking of Lisa, that letter that they read when
At
some
the
things
funeral?
go down.
Yeah.
Did you have any input in that? Because it sounds like it's coming right from you. You're like, no.
That shows you that Cord cast really well. Because, yeah.
That was hilarious.
You know, it's interesting. When I read a script, I can always tell it's something I'm interested in. When I start reading it and when it gets to my role, I'm out loud.
Yeah.
I can't help it. I just go out loud. And there was nothing, everything was easy on the tongue with Lisa.
I love that. I love that. So there's this quote, and I want to get y'all's thoughts about it. Someone in the film says, white people think they want the truth, but they don't. They just want to be absolved. Do you think that's true or false in a post-Lives Matter existence? Oh, y'all looking at me like I am not trying to answer that shit.
I think sometimes folks don't know what they want until they get it. You know what I'm saying? I think for the longest time, in terms of storytelling that involved us, there was a desire to sort of like wipe the edges out in order to make things universal. I think what we're learning in this time is the more specific you are, the easier it is to address the universal. So I think while that comment is being made, the movie is also saying if we give you something specific, you're probably able to see yourself more clearly than if we try to wash out the edges.
I also think people want to do better. They don't always have the bandwidth.
Yeah.
And even when you direct them to what it is that needs to be done, it is scary for people to face what it means to take those steps.
Yeah.
Y'all are deep. I love you for it, though. I love you for it, and thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
They deep. I love them. I do love them for it. Okay, so next up, we're going to talk to the director before we speak to Jeffrey Wright, because the director has some things to say. And I was at an event with him where he spoke very briefly about how Robert Townsend's Hollywood Shuffle had a huge impact on him. So I wanted to know if that impact carried over into his directing and creating this adaptation of Percival Everett's book. And this is what he had to say. Hey, Corey.
Hi, Carla. How are you?
I'm good. I'm well.
Excellent.
Yay. I wanted to explore a little bit more about if or how Robert Townsend's Hollywood Shuffle inspired your cinematic vision for this film.
Oh my God, that movie inspired me so deeply. That's probably, I think, one of my biggest artistic inspirations ever. I watched Hollywood Shuffle probably when I was around 9 or 10. Up until that point, I'd sort of, I'd learned a lot about civil rights. I was learning about, the history of slavery, the history of Jim Crow, all these things. Mm-hmm. And the way that I was learning about them largely was through these kind of very, very dark, dramatic movies, documentaries, stories, these very frightening things. I would have nightmares at night because of them. I remember watching this movie specifically called Mississippi Burning, that movie that I really like, but I saw it and it just terrified me, and I had nightmares about it forever. And then one day I saw Hollywood Shuffle, and it was like this revelation, because all of a sudden it was like, oh, these guys are talking about the same things. They're talking about racism. They're talking what it feels like to be limited because you're a black person, and yet they're talking about it in ways that make me laugh every couple seconds. Mm-hmm. That in a way that is just really, really hilarious. And it felt like, to me, I didn't know what the word satire meant, obviously, but I just knew what this was making me feel. It was making me feel like, oh, there's another way to build empathy and understanding, and it doesn't just need to be scary and dark and dramatic. It can be happy and joyful and laugh, and you can laugh and find some hilarity there. And so that was a hugely revelatory moment for me in sort of in my creative path, because I think that since then I've just been really drawn to satire in its many forms, and I think that it all started with Hollywood Shuffle and Robert Townsend. Absolutely.
Cool. And let me just congratulate you on your directorial debut.
Thank you.
And for winning the People's Choice Award at TIFF. I don't want this conversation to go without acknowledging that, because those are big, monumental milestones.
Thank you.
There's a quote in the film where it says, white people think they want the truth, but they don't. They just want to be absolved. Mm-hmm. Do you think that that's true or false in a post-Black Lives Matter existence?
That's interesting. I sort of, the reason that I like sort of writing fiction is because you allow characters to say things that you believe or don't believe. And so, I don't think that that's necessarily true as when it comes to every person, but I think that that's something that is true when it comes to certain white people. I think that one of the reasons why, I think one of the people have asked me why I think that movies about slavery or sort of movies about civil rights are so popular and told over and over. And I think that when you watch a movie about slavery, it allows you to say, like, well, I'm not that kind of person. I don't own slaves, and so sort of how can I be racist, and how can sort of I have those are what racists look like. Racists own slaves, racists burn crosses. Those are sort of like the real racists, and so it has no bearing on my life. And I think it allows people to kind of maybe sort of not see themselves in the material that they're watching in a way. And so I think that it's maybe, I've had people come out and say, this movie is a little uncomfortable at times for me to watch, and yet they really find something that when they lean into that discomfort, they find something on the other side of that. And that, to me, is always the art that I like. The art that I really lean into is stuff that maybe makes me feel a little uncomfortable from time to time. But on the other side of that discomfort, to me, is wisdom. And I think that one of the things that I really like about this movie, and I think is important about this movie, is that it addresses these issues in a way that isn't really uncomfortable, right? It's like it allows you to laugh the entire time. I think that this is a movie that I wanted people to come in, and it's like, yeah, we address some sort of serious subjects in the movie, and yet we address them in a way that I think allows people to laugh and allows people to have a good time. The way that Hollywood Shuffle allowed me to have a good time when I was talking about these things back then. Like, when I was watching Hollywood Shuffle, there was moments I remember, when I felt like, oh, am I supposed to be laughing at this? Is this, am I supposed to feel uncomfortable at this, or am I supposed to find this funny? And I think the great thing about it was that it was always, I was supposed to laugh at it and find joy in it because it's uncomfortable or because it's sort of painful. I think that the important thing for us to do as human beings is to realize that there's more than one way to skin a cat. And I think that for me, a way that I love to build empathy is to come in and have a good time with a bunch of different people. And so this is a movie that I hope a lot of people go see. One of the things that's been nice about it is that we've shown it in the North, we've shown it in the South, we've shown it to older people, we've shown it to younger people, we've shown it to predominantly black audiences, we've shown it to predominantly white audiences, we've shown it at Morehouse, we've shown it at the Hamptons Film Festival, at the Mill Valley Film Festival, we've shown it in England. I'm going to Paris next month to show it. And so this is a movie that every single kind of person across the spectrum has come out of a theater and told me that they found something to really latch onto and enjoy. And so that to me is very necessary. I think in a world as divided as ours, having opportunities to come in and just sit in a room with a bunch of different people who are unlike you and like you in some ways, that to me is something that we're really missing out on. I don't think that we're ever going to be able to mend these divisions if we can't just find ways to come together and laugh, and enjoy ourselves and allow ourselves to talk to people who are different from us and experience things in sort of like these rooms. I think that's one of the greatest things about the cinematic experience is that you're going through this process with a bunch of different people, some of whom are strangers. There was this woman who came out of a London screening and said, I was sitting next to this person and we came out of the theater. I'd come by myself and she'd come by herself. And we stepped out, and I turned to her and I said, do you want to go sit down and talk about the movie a little bit? And so they did. She said they went and sat down for about a half an hour and chatted, and they had a wonderful conversation. And so to me, all that's to say that I just really hope that I made something that feels big tent, that feels like it allows a lot of people in to enjoy themselves, and maybe go away and talk about it with your friends or even a stranger. That's what I set out to do, and hopefully I threaded the needle.
Listen, satire is the best way to approach realism.
I agree.
Thank you so much, Cord, for your time. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Listen, satire is the best way to approach realism.
I agree.
Thank you so much, Cord, for your time. I appreciate you.
Thank you. It's such a pleasure to chat with you.
I love Cord. He's so wonderful. It's so funny. At this junket, he talked a lot longer than I thought he was going to, and the people in the room were having a nervous breakdown. So thank you, Cord, for giving me a nice, full, well-rounded answer to my question. I appreciate you, and I'll always support you. Jeffrey Wright. Jeffrey Wright is nominated for so many different things along the way. I mean, I saw him in Top Dog, Underdog. I've seen him in numerous films. He was that one black man in the Batman movie. He was Commissioner Gordon. I'd never seen a black man play Commissioner Gordon before. He was that person. But now he is taking the lead in American Fiction, and he is freaking crushing it. But I tried to lighten it up a little bit because Jeffrey is a very serious dude. He plays serious roles. So I tried to talk to him about something that would probably lighten some things up. And I think it did that. So take a look at what he had to say when I asked him about the swimming pool scene between him and Sterling in American Fiction.
Hello, the curvy
film critic. He's like, I'm trying to get that right.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you about this pool scene with Sterling.
Yeah.
It looked like it was a lot of fun, but I'm always leery of those kind of scenes because it's at night. I don't know if it was cold, if the pool was warm and all that. And it also deals with that mythology with us that black people don't swim, but there y'all are swimming and having fun.
Oh yeah. No, that was like late fall. So up in Boston. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't exactly, it wasn't Florida weather, no. The pool was reasonably warm, but yeah, we had fun. We had fun with that. I went to Dakar, Senegal. First trip to Africa. This was 1996, and I wanted to go to Ile de Gorée, which was this famous slave trading post,
right,
in the middle of the harbor outside of the city. And you take a ferry out there. There's a museum there. Obama visited when he was in Senegal during his presidency. It's a really powerful place. Mm-hmm. The ferry, I don't know, it's maybe an hour, a mile and a half in the center of that harbor. So we get out there, we're going out, we're heading out, we're almost there, we're about halfway there, and there are these kids, local kids, on the ferry. Man, they dove off that boat into that water, and we're like, just splashed like dolphins. They were like at least 3/4 of a mile from the shore. I was like, who doesn't swim?
That part.
I mean, I think, we've got, one of the reasons that black folks don't swim or or disproportionately do not swim in America, is because they didn't have access to public swimming pools because they were segregated. It's like, if you don't teach people to swim or allow them access to the activity, then that's the result you get. But then it becomes this kind of opportunity for you to disparage the absence of the ability when you have taken away the access to the opportunity.
Absolutely.
So it's a ridiculous one. I mean, I love the ocean. My grandfather was a waterman. He was an oysterman crabber on the Chesapeake. So
that's cool.
I can't live without the salt water.
I'm a graduate of Howard University, and we had to take swimming to graduate.
Yeah.
So it's a cool thing. But I really wanted to get your take on that for this interview because, I just wanted to know.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my time. Thank you, Jerry.
Well, we're swimming in this movie, with my brother Sterling K. Brown. That's really, this film is a lot of things. It is satirical, and there's sharp social commentary on race and identity and culture, but it's also a story of the madness, the inescapability, the function, the dysfunction, and the love that exists within family. And that scene is about all of that.
Absolutely.
Sterling and, of course, Tracy Ellis Ross and the legendary Leslie Uggams. We had a ball working together, whether we were in the water or out.
That's a great way to end. You're such a gracious human being and a gracious actor, and I'm looking forward to seeing some wonderful things happen for you this award season.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Clara the Curvy.
Carla,
forgive me.
Jerry Ray, don't hate me, but I just wanted people to see that you have a lighter, fluffier side, because we see you being so serious all the time. I just wanted people to see that you have a great sense of humor. So please don't be mad at me, and please let me interview you again. So again, you guys, I want to reiterate what we have talked about here today. I would love for you to go and check out Merry Little Batman, which is now streaming on Prime Video. Check out American Fiction, which is also streaming on Prime Video. Check out Squid Game, The Challenge, which is streaming on Netflix. Also check out this film, Relighting Candles, the Tim Sullivan story. If you Google it, you'll be able to find out where it is. It's a wonderful, wonderful story. Or you can go to Melissa McCarthy's page anywhere on social media, and I'm almost positive she has some information there about that. Make sure you check out Boba Wine, The People's President, which is streaming on Nat Geo, around, centered around Boba Wine. And and then make sure you check out Chicken Run, Dawn of the Nugget, Wonka. And I think that was all that we talked about today. But honey, next week when I come back, we're going to be talking about The Color Purple. It is a Warner Brothers joint, and I have interviews with Taraji P. Henson, Fantasia, Danielle Brooks, Corey Hawkins, Coleman Domingo, and the director Blitz Bazawule. We're going to talk about some Christmas films. I also have the director of a movie that is coming on Netflix. It's called Society of Snow. If you ever saw that movie Alive, they've done a different version of that movie, and now it's called Society of Snow. It will be on, it's streaming on Netflix. And I have the director, J.A. Bayona, and I have the real life survivor, Roberto Canessa, who was 17 years old when that plane went down in the mountains, and he survived that. He is a real life survivor, and he is portrayed in the film by Matthias Recalled. So I'll have that next week. I'll also be talking about The Boys in the Boat, which is directed and produced by George Clooney. That is an Amazon MGM studio film. I'll be talking about Ferrari, which is it will be released via Neon in theaters on Christmas Day. It stars Adam Driver and Penelope Cruz. And then I will be talking about some Christmas movies, like I said, and I'll be giving you some information regarding what's happening with the Curvy Critic going into 2024. And I will give a list of all the films that I have covered thus far up to this point that you can find on my site so that you can go back and see those. I will be rebranding when we come back in January, and I will be talking to the cast of The Book of Clarence, which is James Samuel's new film. If that name sounds familiar, he is the director of The Harder They Fall, which was for Netflix a few years back. I'll be talking about Mean Girls and The Beekeeper, and then on January 14th, I'll be doing a preview of Sundance, because once again, award season will start all over again, and we'll get started with the Sundance Film Festival, which starts on the 18th and runs through the end of the month. But I will do a preview on January 14th and then do a Sundance special on the 21st. So that is it for this edition of the Curvy Critic with Carla Renata. Again, if this is your first time joining me, give me a big thumbs up if you were on the YouTube so that I know you was here, boo. I don't know that you stopped by and hollered at a sister if you don't give me thumbs up. I'm just saying, just do it. Just do it. And like I said, you never know who you'll see at the channel. Thank you so much for supporting me and watching the videos. I see y'all out in public. Y'all tell me that you enjoy what I'm doing. I enjoy what I'm doing. I enjoy bringing the information to you. And yeah, I mean, I just really, really enjoy it, whether you watch it in real time or you watch it after the fact. I really appreciate the fact that you're all here and that you support me. So having said that, I'm going to go grab some dinner. I got my I Am Knuff shirt because it's nice and cozy and it matches my background because I'm that girl. And please be safe. Wash your hands. Take care of yourselves. Make sure you hydrate. We're in the wintertime. People have a tendency not to drink as much water as they should, including myself. So make sure you hydrate. Be wonderful to your family members. You never know how long they're going to be around. So take care of them, embrace them, support them, and love them the way that they love you. Okay, I'm going to stop being sappy and all things of that and let y'all go. But yeah, I'll see you next week for the last live broadcast of the Curvy Film Critic with Carla Renata for 2023. I will be broadcasting stuff along the way through the end of the year, but I will not be doing another live show after December 17th. So join me next week and we'll get into it. All right. I'm going to go. Love, peace, and hair grease, y'all. Until the next time. Deuces.